It's Domain Dave from CheapWineFinder.com. Another wine review that we just posted on the CheapWineFinder.com website. Talking about inexpensive but really nice wines. We've been doing it for over a decade. So we have an interesting wine today. And it is interesting. I mean, if you want my tasting notes, it's on I'm not going to go into the tasting notes so much. I'm going to talk about how they made this wine because I found it for $12. It's the Poppy Santa Lucia Highlands Chardonnay 2017. And how it is made is almost more important, I found it for $12 than the tasting notes, but the tasting notes are on www.cheapwinefinder.com. Again, the Poppy Santa Lucia Highlands 2017. Santa Lucia Highlands are just that. They're in the highlands of the Santa Lucia coastal mountains in Monterey. It's a sub-AVA. It gets cool weather coming down from the Monterey Bay. Just west of them is Big Sur. So the area is just as beautiful as it is great for wine. I'm going to take a sip. It's good wine. The grapes came from Poppy's vineyard. It's a state vineyard. This is 100% Chardonnay from one vineyard. But they picked the grapes at varying degrees of ripeness. They didn't just pick it all at once. They actually, I think it was like from September 19th to the 25th and then October 4th to the 7th or something. So they wanted the grapes at different levels at different times. They took those grapes and then they produced them in three very different methods. The first one was in stainless steel. And that was no malolactic, no enlise, but at a very cold temperature for fermenting wine. What that does, it cools the fermentation process down and allows to get extraction, so it takes a long time to ferment, and you get very full expression of the grape that way. Then they did another way where they fermented it in small oak barrels. The smaller the barrel, the more contact the wine inside has with the oak. And in the small oak barrel, the Chardonnay, they did malolactic fermentation, which changes the naturally occurring tart acid inside every grape to a more rounded acid, and that usually goes better with oak. Oak gives a buttery flavor, and when it's more rounded, the round acid just goes better with that. And that is a fairly warm fermentation, so they sped up the fermentation as opposed to the first one, but then they did more production techniques to the wine. And then the third production method is that they fermented it in stainless steel tanks at a temperature in between the cool and the warm, so it's a little bit different from that one. And this time they took oak slats, oak staves from a barrel, and threw that in with the wine. They started malolactic fermentation, but stopped it halfway through, and then they did enlise aging. Enlise is when they keep all the dead yeast and grape residue in the barrel with the wine or whatever. And then this time they used batonnage. Batonnage just means they stirred it. It sounds better in French, though. And the more you stir it, the creamier the wine gets. So you have these grapes picked at various times at different states of ripeness. Three very different techniques to make the Chardonnay, fermented at three different temperatures and three different no oak, full oak, kind of oak. The reason you would use staves, when I first heard people use staves, I thought, they're trying to cut corners, but no, what they're doing is getting just the exact amount of oak in the wine. These are not wines that you would ever put away, for 15 years. You drink these now, and it's more important to get exactly what the winemaker wants. And that's where staves helps. And that's because you can get just the amount of wine at the right toast and get everything going on. And what you have, this is one I found for $12. This is a complex, heavy on the palate, not heavy, mid on the palate, but it's got some weight to the palate, flavors. And with all the production techniques and everything, and this is not a cookie cutter Chardonnay. This is not the same one you had last week or the week before that. And it's from a single vineyard wine. It's got production techniques that put $50 Chardonnays to shame. And there you go. It's the Poppy St. Lucia Highlands Chardonnay 2017. This is me, Domain Dave from CheapWineFighter.com. We got more wine coming. Temperature's heating up, and I'm getting thirsty. So keep it cheap. Adios. Be careful. Be safe. I'll be talking to everybody later. Bye-bye.